5 p.m. All right, show all in attendance. Thank you all for being here. Glenn, do we have anybody online this evening?
No.
Okay, so let the record show that we had no public comment this evening. John, for your application, this would be, the first thing we do is allow public comment if anyone shows up, so. Okay. All right, so I'm going to move right into bead updates because I think that's what everybody is most interested in. As everybody here is probably aware, the Trump administration required a reassessment of the BEAD program, as well as new management for NTIA, telecommunications, yada, yada, yada. So it's all new. It was interesting because the messaging was that in 3 years under Democratic priorities, no money was doled out, and now it looks like it's going to be a fourth year of Republican committee with no money doled out. As of Friday, June 6th, the Commerce Department under Lutnick released their updated rules for the organization. I've listed two sources here. For those that have the electronic version of the PowerPoint, you will have access to these articles, perhaps more information than you actually want to go through. What I next did was to paraphrase what's in these articles to save everybody some time. The bottom line is the states now, as of June 6, the states now have a 90-day window to redo what they've already asked for in their bidding process. There's a lot that they have to do. As an example, under the old rules, which prioritize fiber as the technology to deploy, except where it was cost prohibitive, now the new rules leveled the playing field based on speed. So the speed is a 120, which is the current FCC definition of broadband. It requires the states to select the lowest possible cost alternative for services. Obviously, everybody is a bit concerned that this is going to favor fixed wireless and satellite as a solution, and I can't see any argument around that. Although, if you start looking at the cost of deploying satellites, clearly it's not cheaper to deploy satellites than it is fiber. So we'll see where this gets us. I don't know how they're going to price that model out. It does provide for the ability to look at other bids that are within 15% of the lowest bid. So if there's a bid that's close, the state or these states, because this is across all the states, will be able to select another provider, giving factors such as speed and overall network performance indicators as well. What the new rules do add is, as I said, is fixed wireless and satellite to this program. And why, what does that do, you ask? Well, the impact is states must update their maps. So as an example, the BEAD challenge map was based primarily off of fiber and coax. Now they'll have to add fixed wireless to their maps, and they'll have to adapt the challenge process to accommodate these new fixtures. And then they're going to have to renew the bidding process. So continuing on, states will have to also revise the community anchor institutions. These are things like libraries, schools were actually included, and hospitals that are allowed to have a higher speed than the 100/20 in the program and be funded through the program. And my interpretation, again, this is my interpretation, is this means that there'll be scrutiny on what gets approved. They've also removed provisions for the state mandated affordable service provision. So any of you see the notice that New York had authorized a $20 per month service?
Yes.
It's probably 3 or 4 months ago, New York and then California followed suit. In my opinion, political parties don't align, so this undoes this. This says the state can't dictate a price point. It allows the applicants to set a price point. So for example, in Virginia, both BreezeLine and APB have set a sub broadband product, a 50 meg product at $50 a month. So that was their answer to the Affordable Connectivity Program that expired last April. Some of us were sitting here hoping that affordable connectivity would be part of BEAD and be used for BEAD. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. They've removed the option to use unused BEAD funding for digital literacy and broadband adoption efforts. In the state of Virginia, I believe that's going to impact, they had a literacy program that I believe was attached to BEAD. That likely will be pulled now. The idea is that we could hire somebody to come in to a public forum and offer classes on how to use broadband, what to do with your broadband connection, etc. So that's now off the table. Okay, the bottom line, and again, I would encourage you to read this for yourselves and see if you agree or want to debate this further, but as released, NTIA believes they will release funding by the end of this year. So my interpretation of that is don't expect anything to happen before 2026 in terms of funds being available to Lancaster County. And yet to come, politics. Nobody outside of the administration seems to be real happy. On both parties, they've been urging Lutnick to move faster, free up the money, and get some of these things going. Some of these are Republican states, some of them are Democratic states. It doesn't seem to make a difference. Nobody's really happy, so I'm not sure what the political fallout's going to be, and I further expect that litigation is going to follow suit at some point during this, because I'm just sure somebody's going to sue for some reason. And if you look at the trade groups, the fiber optic folks are suggesting this needs to be run like the deployment of electricity in the early 1900s, where they deployed a common solution to everybody, and everybody had access to that.
Rural Electrification Act.
The reality is that not everybody was ever going to get the same broadband solution. If you move to certain areas, as an example, I was in Mountain Brook, Alabama this week. It's very rocky. They are not burying fiber, but again, the other problem with satellite is trees. It's not going to work in heavily forested areas. So if your yard has lots of trees, that's not going to be a solution. So we have a lot to see in the future of what's going to happen. So any questions? Okay.
Actually, I do have a question where he says there's a 90-day window to resubmit. What organizations do that? Is that the?
That's the state. Each
That's
state has 90 days, and it is not clear. I had originally planned, I had a meeting with Vaughn Chandler, who is the Associate Director of the Virginia BEAD office.
Okay.
And we spoke back in May, And that was the premise of what I was going to discuss this evening, which is now moot, because everything that they at the time were all lined up, thinking that if it was just slight changes in terms of what was going to be offered, all they had to do was adjust the program and move forward. With this,
It's more significant.
it's
yeah.
significant, it's
Yeah.
gonna require a lot of work, so I don't know that the 90 days started on June 10th. You know, we'll have to see. I tried to reach Chandler today and find out if he had any updates. I did not get a call back. I also have not gotten a call back from All Points Broadband. I had a twofold question with them, or where are we with respect to the VATI project, which if you look at the VATI dashboard, the project from last year is still open. They still have several
Unfinished.
closeout kinds
Yeah.
of activities that have to be done that are open. So that means that they're not in position to offer broadband beyond the VATI customers, the VATI qualified customers for that 2021 project. So
It was All Points Broadband, is that what
All
you said?
Points Broadband.
And is that under provider updates?
I tried to get an update from All Points, yes, and was
Okay.
unsuccessful.
Okay.
Breeze Line has not done anything on VATI in so long, there is no status from them. Both Breeze Line and APB are sitting, waiting, they're both on the BEAD list.
It's VADI, VADI.
So on BEAD, we have 4 providers still listed on BEAD. Verizon was one. They dropped out because of a qualification that required that they service every address in a zip code, and they were not willing to do so. So that leaves APB and Breeze Line on traditional models, either coax or fiber. And it also left us with Amazon and Starlink on satellite.
And DirecTV.
And what?
And DirecTV.
DirecTV.
Yeah.
They
Huge
did
nets.
not file paperwork that I saw for BEAD.
I'm just saying there's still a viable use option here. So,
Yeah, it's, well, remember, to qualify for Verizon, for Virginia BEAD funding, you had to submit a letter suggesting that you were willing and where you were willing to serve. And then they were going to, they being the state of Virginia, when all the dust settles on broadband, will send out the various areas and ask those providers that applied whether or not they're willing to serve those particular zip codes.
You said Verizon did not apply? Or-
Verizon applied. Originally, Verizon was going to do, I want to say it was 351 addresses. But during the early BEAD process this year, they dropped out because Virginia's requirement was if you service addresses in a zip code, then you must service all the addresses in the zip code. And Verizon was not willing to do so.
22503 is a huge zip code for this area. Like, that's all over the county. So I could see why they were like,
A lot of fiber.
yeah.
A lot of campus.
So,
Okay.
All right, so that brings us to the administrative process, and that would be approval of the minutes. Does anyone have changes to the minutes?
nope, not that I saw.
No. I'm good with the minutes, Corey. I
Well,
took
you're the one that
minutes.
did it.
All right, all in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. Kevin, would you take us through the status?
The only
treasurer
thing
status?
that's changed in our private account is the $10 each month we get charged. So last time I reported, we were at, what, 66,676. 2 months later, we are at 66,5 Oh, no, is it 5? My eyes are going out on me. 556. So we've lost, is that right? Yeah. Am I reading that right? My eyes are messing with me horribly.
$66,666.01. We're $66,656.01.
So
So
$10.
we have paid a service charge of $10 on the account.
How much is the party fund? No.
And then we spent the $3,765 we pay for tower space
Okay, so the tower space is still
coming out of
ongoing.
our,
And Don is not here, so we can't ask where that is, so.
but so far year to date, we spent $13,000 on that.
Yeah, and just for everyone's edification, a lot of new folks here, the fixed wireless service was originally deployed by, from a project, pre-Batty project.
The COVID project.
I'm sorry?
It was a COVID project.
Yes. And it was bought out by a fixed wireless provider who has left the business due to primarily All Points Broadband. Fixed wireless was a 50 meg service, so All Points came in, they could serve 100 or terabit, so customers jumped ship and didn't leave them with enough customers, so they reneged on that. We're left holding the tower, but the antenna, remove an antenna from a tower is expensive. You have to bring in a crane and a crew. So the county wants the tower anyway for new antennas. So we're now waiting on the county's project to add emergency services, wireless connectivity, which will replace our connectivity and we'll be off the hook.
Is there any recurring charge for the license for the actual spectrum you're using?
It's what, licensing spectrum?
unlicensed?
No, it wasn't licensed spectrum.
It's the fixed wireless, it's the free spectrum.
All right, so can we go back a minute?
Sure.
On the finance update, it was $10 over the past month. It was just a banking fee.
Well, there's,
$10 per each month, so we were out last month. The month before, we were at 566 something, and now
Bill,
it's
is-
at 556.
it was 66,666, so it was 66,676 last month, or,
The month before.
yeah, that would be April.
It was
Okay.
And then
$10
May was 66,666, and June is 66,656.
Right, okay, so we decreased 20, I mean, it's.
$20 since
Do we
the last
want this
meeting.
in the minutes, or
I
do we
don't
do
think
not?
it's necessary.
All right, fine.
I think the only thing in the minutes that I see that needs to be recorded is that we're still on the hook for the
Okay.
antenna on the tower, which is 3K?
3796.
3796 is
You might as well
what
say
that's costing
pretty
us.
close.
Per month?
Yeah, until the county redeploys or deploys new antenna.
But realistically, our money comes from the county, so it's
And-
their money.
Again, just for your edification as the newbies, because of the cost, bringing in a crane alone is like
Right.
12 grand. So, you know, us to incur 12 grand plus a crew, another $4,500, it didn't make sense to do anything other than keep paying the rent on the tower
Until the county-
county comes along
Yeah,
and
but the-
replaces the
But
antenna.
other parts of the county pay for it, right?
It would be nice.
Other pots.
It's the sheriff's department is upgrading their
Yeah.
communication system.
911, yeah.
Right.
And because of that, they need the antenna space that we occupy.
So let them pay for the crane.
So they're bringing in new antenna.
our stuff down, thank you.
While you're there.
From my perspective, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, yeah.
When are we anticipating that the county will take responsibility?
It was supposed to be done already.
Yeah.
So I'll try
I think
and
they
find
were-
an answer from Don. You don't know, do you, Glenn?
I think the worst Don said was by the end of the summer.
I was of the impression it was like May, June is what they were
I
talking.
could have swore he wanted us, like, there was 2 more months he wanted us to take it as the fiscal year rolls over.
Okay.
I could be wrong. But
fiscal year would be,
That restarts at the end of this month.
okay.
So July to June and fiscal.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, they may have the money in the new fiscal year budget for
Okay.
the new antenna. All right. The only other thing that I have is, John's with us tonight, and, John Deloche, and we need to have a motion to add him as a board member on our board to fill the vacant seat. I asked him to come so he could get acquainted this evening, so thank you for taking time to be here. And so could I have a motion?
I'm scared I'll pronounce his last name wrong. I make a motion that we put Don onto the board. Can I say that? Is that
John.
okay?
John.
John onto the board.
John Deloach.
John Deloche.
John Deloche. Deloche. Yeah, there we go.
I'll second
All right. Can I have a second?
it. I'll second.
He said it.
Russell second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposition? John, congratulations and welcome to the
He just
board.
opposed himself.
Yeah.
I was opposing myself.
I think you should have given us a speech first.
Yeah, speech next time, like life story, how many fish he caught last week? No, I'm just joking.
All right, so is there anything that anyone would like to add to the agenda?
No, I have a question possibly. Batty, when's the next time we can start messing around with that again? Do we know this?
VATI is theoretically done.
Like completely done?
Well, last year, if you recall, back in April 2024, Cherie and I submitted a VATI proposal for a grant for 2024 to add
Yeah, that's right.
367 homes. And VATI denied the grant and sent us to BEAD because BEAD had more money. So in theory, VATI is done. In reality, now that we have this new position with BEAD, new administration, and all the changes, I don't know that the state won't put up more money somewhere along the way to fill what isn't filled by BEAD.
So we need to keep our ear on that.
So, but at the present time, there's no VATI activity.
That's still under DHCD, right? DHCD still in charge of that, right?
Yeah, Virginia's DHC, Department of Housing Department, actually runs BEAD. It's under housing. If you need help getting to the website, but you should be able to find the BEAD program
Okay.
by just searching for VA
Yeah.
BEAD.
Yeah, that's where I found it before.
And they are running the VA BEAD program. They ran the VATI programs prior to that. But they, as I said, all their emphasis has been on BEAD at present. And certainly for the foreseeable future, that's where their time will be. All right. Any other questions, issues? Motion to adjourn.
When's the next meeting? What's the next meeting date?
Oh, next meeting date, okay. Good point.
I think it's August.
August will be the next official date. And I'm going to the website to.
The 7th of August, no, 16th of August. Because it's the second Thursday, right?
It's the second Thursday in August, yes.
Yeah, so the 14th of August.
Okay.
At 5 PM is the standard time.
5 PM.
Sounds good.
August is a weird month.
Yeah, it is. So second Thursday, that would put it on the 14th?
Yes. Are you going to re-motion to adjourn now?
All right.
Did we unadjourn for a moment?
Russell's at the ready again with the motion. Keith will second.
Can I second or third it?
Anyway, you
All
just
in
need a second.
favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Turn
We're
your mic
adjourned at